Seekers, I'm Nick. I've been meaning to build a permanent Linux machine for quite a while. I've been using the same hardware for this kind of Linux workstation I've been using for the last little while, but I just hadn't found the right case. Well, that was until now. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button right now and turn on that little bell to receive notifications. We upload basically every single day, so do yourself a big old favor and make sure you're subscribed, right, Claire?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Silverstone sent over their Primera PM01 because they thought it would be the perfect case for such a project. It's one of their high-end airflow focused cases, so let's see if it deserves that good old title of King of Airflow. Just be aware though, I can't believe I have to say this, but this is not a review.
Not a review.
This build is a little bit of a work in progress, but I wanted to share it with you guys in its current state. There are a few more upgrades coming for it, but I didn't want to wait. I wanted to share it with you before those parts arrived. That being said, let's talk about all of the parts and all the coming upgrades and all the observations at the end of the video. Right now, let's get building. Right, now let's talk parts. The motherboard we used for this build is still one of my favorite boards. It's the Gigabyte X99 Phoenix SLI. It's a few years old now, but it packs most of the features that you'll find in pretty much all of the current boards. The GPU we used is the Gigabyte WindForce GTX 1066GB. However, Gigabyte is sending over their WindForce RTX 2070, and that will live in this machine. I'll do an update video probably next week, and we can talk about Linux and the 2070 later on in that video. Now, the CPU we're using for this build is the i7-6900K. It's an 8-core, 16-thread weapon, and I've used it for a long time, and I used to use it in my primary editing workstation, and it's a fantastic CPU. Now, to cool the 6900K, we used the Corsair H100i Pro. I decided that I wanted to tone down the RGB, considering this is a workstation. It's got some lighting, but I decided to use the stock fans instead of the LL fans that I would usually use on this cooler. Now, the RAM we use is a 16 gig kit of G.Skill Ripjaws V. I've got it in dual channel for now, but it's being swapped out with two 16 gig kits from Team Group, and we're going to be using the T-Force Vulcan memory. But that's going to be upgraded later in the week. For storage, we used a 250 gig Samsung 970 EVO NVMe SSD. I have a PCIe card with two additional M.2s that will be going in when I do the upgrades. But yeah, we'll talk about that when we actually do more about this computer later. Lastly is the case. This is Silverstone Primera PM01. At first glance, the case looked a little, how can I say, a little over the top. And to be honest, I really didn't want to like it. The fact of the matter is, the PM01 is actually a really well thought out case. Well, most of it's pretty well thought out, but I'll talk about that shortly. The front fans suck in more air than you could possibly ever need, and it's got an included RGB controller that can be controlled with either the button on the top of the case or pass through the RGB header from your motherboard. It comes with 340mm RGB fans up the front, as well as RGB accents on the inside and on the outside of the case. Aesthetically, it's pretty awesome looking. All of the photos that you've probably seen on the internet of this case for how long they've been out, well, they just don't do it justice at all. The tempered glass panel is tinted, and this is actually something I really like. Most people either love the tinted glass or they hate it. I think it suits this case really well. It includes a PWM fan hub as well, which has more than ample fan connectors. I think it's 8 fan connectors from memory. I seriously can't remember, but you can check that out on their website if you're really interested to see how many you can connect up. All in all, it's a pretty good case, except for a few random things that they could have easily fixed. Firstly, the backside of the case has one of the smallest gaps that I've ever seen for cable management, and I mean, this case is a few years old, but even cases from that era had better cable management at the back. Now, the reason why this is a problem is the build doesn't have that much in it, and the fact that it took me more than 5 minutes with Claire's help to put on the back panel with the back panel bulging out, well, it's a little disappointing. And speaking of that panel, when I was taking it off to start with, when I started building it, it required a hell of a lot more force than should be necessary to pull off a side panel. That could just be this sample though. Ultimately, these things shouldn't actually stop you from buying this case. Like I mentioned, I really didn't want to like the PM01, but it's actually a pretty decent case. And I like it. The odd futuristic styling is different. The airflow is really good, but does it deserve the title of King of Airflow? Well, the jury's still out for now. We're gonna do an updated look at this case when I have the rest of the parts, so we'll show it more when the computer's in its final form, but maybe wondering why I didn't just wait till then to show you all of that. Well, the truth is, I wanted to share this build with you now. The GPU and memory shouldn't decide whether or not you should be able to see a build in it for now. If you're interested in any of the parts, you know where to find it, in the description, all that other jazz. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, tell us what you hated about it. Once again, thanks so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peek, we seek. And yeah, we're back. Sorry I haven't uploaded much lately. PAX kind of threw off our whole schedule, but guys, we are back.